How's the tea?
Beautiful.
Beautiful tea. So I'm not going to lie, Seba. Since doing Studio Talks, that's the name of this whole show, Studio Talks, you were the first person that wanted on here.
Woohoo!
I feel like it came about from us having a conversation when I was going to get the studio. And cheers.
Salud.
And it was the conversation where I was like, oh, I don't know how to get it. Should I get the studio? And you actually said, 100% get it. Risk all your financial, everything. Just go for it. Balls deep, I think you said.
Yeah, I remember like that conversation. But you know when you think, it's not gonna fucking happen.
We'll just make the guy feel good.
You called me the day after, before lunch. So you say like, man, don't deal. I'm like, oh shit.
And it's all
yeah, but look, hey,
we're here.
Look,
it finally happened.
This is fucking great.
Yeah. So a bit of an introduction, Seba. Obviously, I know you well, a bit too well at times. A bit of an introduction about who you are, what you do. Tell me more, really. Tell me about you. Come on, let's go for it.
I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
I was born in Argentina. I live outside Manchester for the last 15 years. I have my family here. I have 3 kids. Still enjoying photography. It's just, with art, I found myself like, okay, this is what I want to do. And at the beginning it was just amazing. When I start photography, because I start late, when I start photography, the dilemma was analog against digital. Digital was like the evil.
The AI.
The AI. And again, AI, I try AI. I caught bored really quick about AI, but at the beginning it's fascinating, and it shouldn't be a threat. Everyone is scared, like the photographer is fucking scared. I understand why, because it's a lot of you crafting for so long, and you do commercial work, and then the companies now they can do it like with a click. Not a click, but with a guy understanding more about computers and actually photography. I understand. But at the same time, you should embrace it, because it's an amazing tool, and you can incorporate somehow to your practice. Okay, the same was Digi with the analog on the 2000s, and look at it now, man. Nobody talks about that dilemma, the transition. Nobody talks about that anymore. It doesn't matter. I mean, analog is back now. Do you know what I mean? We never have so much technology on digital, and people are shooting analog.
It's interesting, because I was thinking this today, literally driving. I was thinking that I sometimes I'm hypocritical towards modern technology. So Instagram and stuff like that, I'm like, it does so much damage, and there's this, that, and the other. But obviously, opening a studio, if I had to go into town and be giving flyers to people and saying, I've opened a studio, and like trying to get the word out there, I can do that with taking a picture and
I know, it's fascinating. I think it's everything new, modern, not just technology, everything new that happened to society, I'm excited about. I'm really excited. I'm no NFT, I don't know shit about it. Crypto, I don't know shit about it. I don't go to the gym. Do you know what I mean? I don't need that. I don't care. But in the bottom line for me is like, man, it's new shit coming up.
Yeah,
that's great.
How can we use it? How can we?
Even if I don't use it, like I know people will use it, and it's a new thing, man. It's fucking brilliant,
The only thing that I would say, gonna take a negative spin now, but how do we control jobs? So a lot of my friends are retouchers, right?
Yeah.
And they retouch for like all these brands, and that's how they make their living. But obviously now you can go into Photoshop, generative fill, take out all the people in the background, and done. You have to adapt.
You shouldn't control jobs.
Yeah.
You shouldn't control jobs. I mean, it happens like with this revolution, like the factories and now the robots. It's our industry is relatively new if you compare it with, I don't know, 300, 400 years old jobs like a joiner or whatever. But they're not scared. Or if they're scared, they keep going. And we should keep going. Fuck it, man. Like, retouchers, they're amazing. But I know for a fact, like those guys, they're capable enough to reinvent themselves and adapt and do something with computers. Like,
take AI. don't just use it for retouching. Now let's use it, and they learn about how to put amazing backgrounds in,
Yeah.
or to, you know what I mean? And they
I mean, you use AI?
yeah,
Yeah,
I've been using Midjourney. And it's
Yeah, Midjourney is great, but you use it like in Photoshop?
with the generative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still like people like me, like I'm not that technical in Photoshop, even when I use Photoshop for the last, I don't know, 20 years. But it's not something like I'm good at it or enjoy it. So now if I use the generative field, still shit. And I know those guys, these retouchers, they're going to be amazing at it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think still space for the retoucher. It makes it more like my son is 11. He designed T-shirts. He likes designing like nobody pushing. It's just his nature, you know. He learns to use Photoshop, illustration, you know. It's just all the time. But now he downloads AI on the phone without my permission, and you just like, I don't want to say permission, but you know, without my knowledge.
Yeah.
Without my knowledge.
You have to protect.
Yeah. I know. It sounds like completely hardcore that, you know. Now, when it says like he showed me stuff of software like he downloaded on the phone, and they're brilliant. But again, they're brilliant because he knows what to do with it, or he tried to do something that he has in his mind before the machine. So still we're in control, I think. And even we're talking about scary shit. The scary shit is those fucking Boston Robotics, you know. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's police scary, you know. Police is shit. Boston robots are kind of nearly the same shit as the police. So AI, I think is cool.
It's going to be.
I think it's cool.
How do you think that people, for example, tutors in universities and things, I don't know why this has become about teaching really, but it's interesting. So you say about your son and stuff. I feel like a lot of the teachers, the professors, the lecturers in universities and colleges can't keep up at the same rate that the younger generation can. Yeah. So I feel like you go in and maybe a thing is being taught about branding, and he's like, oh, you have to go onto Illustrator, you can make this, and you do that. AI can take control of that, and a kid will just go, nah, you just type it in here. Yeah. They're like, oh, shit, like I can't keep up. So that fascinates me of how the education system...
I think always was like that, because when I started like uni photography, like most of the tutors, they weren't good at Photoshop. Lightroom, they didn't know about it. They knew about it, you know. So they were more like camera guys, you know, which is amazing. So then I remember I have this classmate Tom. I was 30 years old when I started, 31 or something. And the guy was 18 next to me. I didn't speak any English, so the guy was like helping me out, you know. And every Photoshop class, I never have a computer before, you know. And it was like the blackboard was a screen, and everyone has their own computer, you know. And I remember I was shit at it, and the tutor all the time like, Seb, are you okay? You know, in slow. But I remember every assignment my mate Tom, that young kid, it was like, so he showed to the tutor how to do shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And because he grew up with that. The tutor has to educate himself.
The teaching almost starts.
The teacher has to educate himself. Oh shit, this is what's happening now. This guy grew like now. The kids, they grow with like artificial intelligence, so they're gonna be fucking masters of it. Masters of it. So university, man, they always have to adapt. For that reason, like everyone needs to know the role of what they do. Bring young people to the unis. Bring young teachers, man. Yeah. Bring them.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think, why can't young people teach? Because I think now we have the ability to learn stuff from such a young age that probably the things that I know about, for example, I know about running brands and having a brand. That's what I've done since I was young. But you say your son now making t-shirts and stuff, he potentially knows more than me because he's just been brought up with it and learning so fast and had the time to do so. Why can't he teach me so many things as well? Yeah. The teaching is going both ways now.
Oh, yeah. But listen. When I talk about universities, well, I still sometimes do this kind of lectures. The only appeal I have now is because I'll learn as much as I teach. That's why I go to Europe and give these lectures, because the students, man, they blow my mind sometimes. Like the work I see, the approach of how they approach a new project, like my idea is completely different on how the process, the research. Sometimes, you know, it's so refreshing to see, boom, and that's why I'm sometimes more benefit more than what I give.
Yeah,
It sounds really stupid, no, but
No, I
but you know, I mean,
understand that, yeah.
I motivate them in a way that it works for me, and they motivate me without them even knowing like how they start a project. So that's it's a beautiful moment when you start, when you the thing with photography, in my perspective or in my experience, is when I start to understand the photography world, everything can become a project. You know, you have the secret key of, like, you think the standard people that doesn't have, the people with no photographer, you know, so everything is, I can go deep in this research, I can kill, and this is a fucking, but then you can't stop thinking about it, so everything can be a project. And then when the selection of, that's what I'm gonna do, that's what I'm gonna try, that is an amazing moment.
When you pinpoint.
When you pick the one, like you have all these ideas coming through, and you're like, fuck, I'm gonna explore that. That's amazing. So when I see that on I don't know, in 2 weeks, I give it like 2 weeks to do a project, you know, to these guys. And when I see what they just come with it, and I'm like, fuck, it's beautiful, beautiful.
And so take me back. So you said Argentina. So you grew up in Argentina, born in Argentina.
Born and bred in Quilmes,
Quilmes.
the República de Quilmes.
Okay, perfect.
Quilmes is a beautiful neighborhood outside the capital. We're still Buenos Aires, but it's outside what your knowledge of Buenos Aires will be, you know, the city center of Boca Juniors or River Plate, or well, we are like a bit, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes away. And it's more humble, more dangerous, but more beautiful in my opinion too. At the same time, it's a contracultural city, a lot of skateboarding, a lot of punk rock in that time, we are a generation, we are the guys after the dictatorship. We born.
So what era is this? What
I
decade?
was born on dictatorship, on the 74 I was born.
Okay.
So by 83, democracy came. So
Right.
my childhood, I just have a few memories, was under crazy, violent regime. And then I grew up on this transition of the police still beating you up because you go to a concert, but at the same time, new music everywhere, new art everywhere, you know, everything flourished. So it was beautiful.
And so prior to that, so would it have been illegal to have music and to have
Oh yeah.
creative freedom?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
illegal and like
Yeah, two people in the street, more than two you can, like shit like that. Wow. I was really young.
yeah.
I was really young. About 30,000 people disappeared because of that. Yeah, it was super violent and awful, and yeah. But then again, I grew up like I have an amazing childhood, but then we talked about before, like me having kids and the you said to me, ask me again what you say about my neighborhood.
Speaking about so obviously the dangers and things that you've seen and
No, you said to me what was living in home shopping. Where I live is a super safe
yeah.
place and kind of countryside and I said to you,
The contrast is vast.
yeah, but again, I reached the point like we choose that with my wife because we thought this is the best for the kids, and it's amazing, it's beautiful, and everyone is, you know, have a nice life, is relatively like safe, and you know, my kids, I drop the bike on, I have a skate ramp in front of my garden, they drop the bikes there, nobody just, which I thought, yeah, that's great for the kids, and now I'm thinking, my kids are growing up, I'm thinking, is it great? It's not great for them to have a bit of fuck, what's going on? I'm scared, or not scared about safe, because safe is always good, but we don't have enough money for food. How my brain's gonna cope to try to overcome this problem, you know? and that is a dilemma that I have with myself now. And say, you know, I said to my wife, let's bring it to America, let's bring it to the world, and she's like, no fucking way.
Do you want me to come in a balaclava and like steal a bike or something? I
No,
understand what
but
you're
but you
saying,
know
yeah.
what I mean. It's great. Like they see a bit of everything and don't take everything for granted. It's difficult. I don't come here to talk about parenthood, but it's weird.
No, I understand, and I feel like, do you think?
Whatever I do, they're gonna hate me anyway. So I prefer to give like what I think is best for them. You know?
Do you feel as though almost not having those problems to think about, though the crime and the oh fuck shit could go down at any moment, allows them to then progress further potentially? You can explain the things that you've been through in your life, and that the fact that this isn't, you're very in a
Yeah, I don't glorify crime. I think it's better that they don't have to deal with like what we used to deal. Crime was awful. Like guns in the head it's never good. You know.
yeah. And is that normal growing up?
It's not normal, but it happens a few times to me, and it happened to my friends. It's not, and again, it happened to us. Like we don't have any money. It's not like they put a gun on a guy with a yacht. Yeah, give me your yacht. Give me 20 pesos, which is like 5 quid. How much I can keep? They take my trainers, you know, because I was skateboarding, like fucked up trainers, you know, like they're all like fucked with the board, like so. That's the dangerous culture when it comes like they steal to people who just actually go to work and have like 2 coins in the pocket. So I don't want them to experience that, you know. I want them to be aware of that, but it's awful. But I want them to experience a bit of okay, this is not going great for me. How I can do it on my own because I don't have anyone else to help me here. You know, in where we live, for the I don't know, call it privilege or whatever, it's never gonna happen to them. You know, we always thinking, okay, nothing's gonna happen to you. The neighborhood is not proof enough for that.
But do you think there's teachings that
Take that bit out, like
no, but,
telling me, I now take it out.
oh no, no, but I feel like the teachings that you provide and the experience that you've been through, your children are very much like you in the fact that they have creative just flowing through their veins, and I feel like as they get older, they're going to want to travel, they're going to want to visit where their family grew up and visit the history, and I feel like then is when they'll see the times where it's like, oh wow, this is real.
That's interesting because that's the difference of what I think they should experience and what they should see. Like, yeah, it's great. You can go to a dangerous place and see, oh, look, poor people. No, I want them to live that.
Wow, okay.
Not just to say
On a tourist level.
on a
not
tourist
just-
level, oh, no, you know what I saw in Argentina. No, man, go there, work, get a job. Get a job there that they pay shit. And then you have to bring money, go on a party because you want to party. Because Argentina is beautiful. Like everyone, like every country in the world is fucking beautiful. But the struggles that you have as a normal, I don't know, how old are you, mate? 30. You're 30, you're single, and you go out. A normal guy has struggles to go and buy a drink in the bar. You know, here it's taken for granted. You go to the pub, you get a round of 7 guys, 7 pints. Then you have to work a week for that shit.
Yeah.
You know? So I want them to experience that, not just like being mugged. I want to experience like how I try to make this happening for me on a right level. How I can improve myself to get a different job or be creative. Oh shit, I'm not gonna make any money here. How I can do this? So that will be, in my opinion, the experience. Like my son have a job and he's 17 and he just turned up. You know, a job when I was 17, you have like 3 blocks, 300 meters of people queuing for the same job.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? That's dangerous. It's not just a gun in the head. Dangerous is like have 300 people to beat
The lack of
for being a waiter, not like for being an architect. You know what I mean? The lack of opportunity. That's it. As you say, the lack of opportunity is crazy. So that is when you try to improve or no.
And so you say lack of opportunity. So if you're not getting that job, you're in the queue, it doesn't happen. You've done that 1,000 times trying to get a job.
And
it doesn't happen.
me and my brother, every week,
Okay.
we went to the capital twice a week to go to these agencies with the CV and try to get a job. We were like teenagers, 18. I was 18 when he was 17. It's not happening, man.
And then
It's
if
not fucking happening.
If that doesn't happen, then where are you going? What
And
are you turning to?
yeah, that's it. That is you being yourself against modern society.
Yeah, yeah.
You know how I deal with this. And I think it's great for everyone to experience that at some point.
How did you deal with that? That's what I want to know. What happened? So 18.
Yeah,
hard
well,
to get
I start to get these shitty jobs, you know, like I don't want to do, and on my free time, I started to write. I used to write a fanzine about. At that time, I was really angry about society, the government, the dictatorship, the church, the whole thing. So I used to write this fanzine, and I started to get connections with the same kind of people. We start to go to concerts and we swap fanzines, cassettes. I start to produce a band, you know. I start to do charity concerts with this band, and that's how that was my first. I used to have a radio show with a mate of mine, yeah. And but again, I remember the radio show was once the owner came to my dad's house. I used to live with my parents. I was a teenager. And they asked him, my dad is a character and he's a super tough guy. They asked him for like a contract of the house, of the mortgage, to put on guarantee because I was talking bad about the president. President Menem, Carlos Menem was the president. And we used to make fun of him, you know, on my radio show. And the guy came my father was in boxers, but not boxers, you know, the slips, the tiny, the tiny
Whitefoot's.
Yeah. Keep saying like, get the fuck out of here, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, but you know, the stuff like that is the magic, I think, of South America, in my opinion, South America, because it can be African, whatever. In the magic of South America can be that stuff. Like go to a house, really humble house, asking for the mortgage so I can talk bad about the president of my radio show that maybe 50 people listen to it, my friends. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I want them to experience that too, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's fascinating. And so, was that your dad's opinion? Was sort of he backed whatever you were doing? Was he quite?
Oh no, he backed me up, yeah, always. Mm-hmm. But he hates everything. He could understand why I did stuff for free.
Yeah.
You know, the radio show, we lost money with that. We have to pay for the hour in the studio. But we felt happy because it wasn't a show showing the music or putting the music like we used to put and the comments that we used to do. We used to bring bands from the capital there, like they've never been in the south. We live in the south of Buenos Aires. They've never been in the south before, so we feel proud about spending that. We can spend that money on beer, or you know what I mean? So my father never understood why I keep free time to do shit like it doesn't make me any money. Like the fanzine, the writing, all that shit, like the producing. Producing was me working on like a postman for a bit to pay to a band to go to the studio for like 6 hours. You know what I mean? He never understood that. But he always support me, always. Like if I have to talk about one of the biggest influence on my work is my dad.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad is amazing. But at the same time, experiencing that, it was great for me too. You know, it was great to stand up for myself when I was young and say, no, man, I don't care what you think. This is what I want to do. And I think that was the path to bring me to photography. If I got a normal job and did nothing with my life, I probably now doing like a normal job. Yeah. You know what I mean? When I say normal, I don't want to minimize normal jobs. A job that doesn't fulfill my needs. Yeah, that's exactly. Why I say. Put that bit.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, a job that would be considered something that you did out of not love. And to other people, our job could be normal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
respect is like what we do could be seen as like.
Of course. When have a group of friends near my house, like, you know, the parents' friends, that some they don't understand why I put myself on crazy situations, conflict situations, when I can be in the house watching Netflix. They don't get it, which is valid too. I mean, it's great, like what they do too. Watching Netflix is fucking awesome too, you know? But it's difficult for me to say to them, this is what I love, because they seem like,
Yeah.
No, but you know, they seem like, what the fuck are you talking about? What you mean love? You go to work.
But also the shit we put ourselves through. Like, I can understand why a lot of people would look at us and think, why would you put yourself through that stress?
Oh,
Like the shit that we take on
Yeah.
as a creative, you're like, me
Yeah.
doing the prints or me doing the podcast, or like you say, there's no financial reward. Like, I'm just doing this because I wake up in the morning, like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But the actual benefit on my life or my family,
Oh.
there is nothing financial to gain from
No.
it. So they must think, what the fuck? Why?
But again, like, they think it's not financial reward, but it will be at some point. You know, because that brings so many layers of things coming from the podcast, like now you don't see, but they will.
Yeah.
You know, opportunities will come up. So they don't see that picture. They see like, okay, I work 5 hours, I want the money for 5 hours. That's how they've been brought up, or which again, is fucking great and it's fair. It's different. We can't live like that now. But when you know,
And also just what puts a smile on your face, I guess. At the end of the day, I go home and I think, fucking sick day, we spoke about this,
Yeah.
And I'll later have a smile on my face, like, I've had a good day. A lot of people would think, oh, I've just made £100, whatever, I'm happy, I paid,
Yeah.
and then that's a smile on the face. I think that's the thing at the end of the day, is what puts a
yeah,
smile on.
but I look at both ways. I think doing what we do and having a bad day is good too. It's fucking coming grumpy to the house is good too. Like, fuck, that was shit. I'm never gonna do it again. And then you do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. And I think it's part of the creative process and the creative life. Is the beauty of it. It's not a formula. You're never gonna get it right all the time. It's like skateboarding. Skateboarding is fucking brilliant, but you always gonna get injured. Always, even when you're like 50 years doing it, you are the best. At some point, you're gonna fucking hit the floor, and it's gonna shit.
Yeah.
So I think we are the same kind of. The creative is the same. Sometimes you feel like, man, whew, my life is dope, and then boom, yeah, you know. And I think that's
So true.
you know, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. I think that's one thing as well. Like, a lot of my friends growing up with like roller skateboard, like fighters and that kind of thing. And I think the learnings that you get from a young age are, yeah, this is going to be, the highs are high. Like, you know, when you're winning, you're getting,
yeah.
but then next minute, you're knocked out.
Boom.
And you're starting from the bottom again. And
Man.
you've got to build yourself back up. And what are you going to do? You can't just give up. Now it's like you've come too far. You have to, and I think as soon as like the moment I have kids, it's like, right, you're doing fucking jujitsu. You have to learn to get fucked up. You know what I mean? You have to learn that shit.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for a piss,
Yeah, man.
and you can
Let's,
make me.
let's put pause there.
You wanna make me a cup of tea?
Yeah.
So you said 30 to 31 when you were learning the photography. Was that something that had happened just at that point, or were you learning photography beforehand, or?
Yeah. Well, when I said to you about my days in Argentina, my skateboarding days, and the fanzine and the concerts and the punk rock, that I studied journalism,
Okay.
and it wasn't. I didn't feel it wasn't natural, you know, writing for me. I found magic realism fascinating when I was in high school. Magic realism is a type of literature. It was born in Germany, but it makes, how can I say, it flourished in South America. So Gabriel Garcia Marquez, wait, let me say that again. Garcia Marquez, no, wait. Could that be? I said, no, I said the guys because so it's like Marquez, Borges, Cortázar, Sabato. They were like writers. Like I've never been so fascinating but books in my life. Like when these guys show us in school, high school, they show us these books. Man, I was like, this is what I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be a writer, you know. And I'm talking about like the Maradonas of fucking writing. And I say, yeah, I can do that.
Straight up
And
there.
yeah, you know what I mean? And but I try, and that's why I choose journalism, because at the time I was really conscious about like activism and social injustice and that, and I like to write. So I thought, okay, that's the way. Man, that's a crazy thing when you choose your career when you're 17. It's difficult, you know. So I went to uni to study journalism. It's funny because I was a newspaper boy at 4 o'clock in the morning on the traffic lights. Get a newspaper and then take the bus to go study journalism. So by the time I came to the class, I read the whole newspaper, the Daily Mirror, the Telegraph, the Guardian, the whole thing. It was all read. And it was like, shit, man, this guy knows shit, you know. They just woke up, you know, this guy. But again, I wasn't good at it. It wasn't my thing. But there I experienced, like, I used to do this internship for agency, like a newspaper, like journalism agency. And I saw the dark room, and I saw the guys coming back and forward with the rolls of film going there, and I was, even sports, you know, the rush, the film, it was fascinating. So I asked man, can I see, you know, what's going on? And I was blown away, and I was blown away on the political aspect. I saw pictures of I don't know, people throwing Molotovs against the House of Parliament in Argentina, you know. And I thought, man, I can, you know, I write one night the whole thing and it doesn't make sense. And this guy with one picture is fucking nailed it, you know, fucking nailed it. So I thought I'm gonna give it a go, you know, to this. And I went to these night courses, free night courses by like the government, like knitting, tango, photography, you know. So I went to the photography one, and I said to the guy, "Look, man, I don't have a camera, but I know this is what I want, you know." And the guy said, "Okay." And no digital at that time. Probably if it was digital, it was that memory card, like you have 5 pictures or something. So say, "Okay, don't worry, just bring some magazines."
35 mil, 120, what we talking?
No, they're like they're all like pensionists with 35 mil. It was me and a friend of mine, Luchi Cristobal. He's a professional skateboarder. He wanted to take picture of skateboards, you know.
And he still does that now? Is that what he's doing?
He's still a professional skateboarder. The guy's amazing. Yeah. And his brother is like the famous chef of barbecue in Argentina. You know, Argentina beef. The guy is a top fucking yeah. So I went there, and this guy made me do collage during the session. Everyone went out to shoot, and I have to do collage to learn composition until I got my camera. So I think that was the catapult of me doing 5x4 now and intervene the negative. I still playing.
So you're cutting in.
I still playing with the negative, and don't worry, I can't let the pictures alone. You know, I always try to just make more out of it. And I think it's related to my learning process was before I took a picture, I was sticking pictures from other people, like to make my own. So, which I never, I wish I can contact the guy and say thank you to the guy, because he was really patient with me, you know. But I never reach out, and I don't know if somebody, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's how we start.
And what's the first thing that you document? So you're studying it, and then what's your first project where you're like, I want to focus in on this and take pictures of this?
Well, I did that in Buenos Aires, and then I had to stop because my family got really into really shitty economical place and political. So I have to leave Quilmes, and I went to Europe, and that's when I have to stop everything. I start to live and work as an illegal immigrant. That's why I started to work in immigration later. But so I forgot about photography. You have to bring your parents.
Survival becomes.
Yeah. So I bring all my family to Europe, you know. So I work in construction sites, and I see all these guys from Nigeria, Senegal. You know, we get along with them, and they told me these stories that they cross the ocean on rafts, like nobody talks about, and nobody talked about that before because the media tried to cover that at that point. It wasn't social media to talk about it. So then, when I met the amazing Claire, you met Claire, my wife, right? We have an amazing moment in the Canary Islands at some point, like party all the time. You know, I was working in a tattoo shop. That was one of the greatest moments of my life. It was a fun moment of my life. And she said to me, look, this is fun, but what do you want to do with your life? This is what you want? And I said to her, look, I always thought photography would be good for me. And she said, okay. So we came to England and we faked some papers. And she put me on Mid Cheshire College in the university. Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. And there I discovered like myself, I think. And it was amazing. And the research and the 5x4 and the whole thing was just blew my mind. So it wasn't that long that I discovered like my project was about immigration, because I just came from all that shit, and I thought, okay, this is what I want to talk about. And it wasn't many people talking about that shit that on the research I was doing, or the Magnum or the thing. There are not many people talking about that. So I thought, okay, for my final show on school, I'm gonna talk about that. So I got an amazing opportunity to go to Arizona. At that time, they were doing 700 miles. That was the Bush administration. 700 miles of fence tried to stop Hispanic from Mexico to Arizona and LA, which was the Trump wall later on. But that was
amazing as well. It's made out like that's a Trump thing. That's an American thing.
Yeah.
That's something that's happened since way back when.
Man, I did my project in 2008. The law was approved in 2006. So 2006, Trump wasn't in the radar of. So I went there, and my first project was called 700 Miles. And 700 Miles was try to see along the fence what's going on, you know? And that's when I discovered my own style of photography, you know? I knew I wanted to get away from the traditional documentary style, you know? The graphic, people dying in the floor. I wanted to get away from that because I found like photography beautiful, you know, still. So I wanted to mix my kind of color and composition and you know, all the dream about photography that I had when I was young with like the real research of documentary, what happened to these people there. So the magic realism I was mentioning before, when I talked to the immigrants there, I found them like characters of those books that I was reading. Like, for me, they were like amazing people crossing the fence trying to feed the family. I didn't see them like, oh, they're just immigrants. They're just fucking amazing people, you know? So I tried to make these kind of portraits based on my books and my experience on Argentina. And that's why the colors, that's why I manipulate the negatives with the lights of Mexico and Arizona, try to get that feeling of magic, you know?
And how do you deal with, this is quite a deep question, but how do you deal with meeting these people, seeing these people, and seeing the awful circumstances and the awful hands that they've been dealt, and then this is your job, and obviously you've been through it yourself, but you come away from that, and how do you deal with that on an emotional level? Because that isn't easy to see those things.
No, it's difficult. But it's difficult. But I at some point I thought, now I'm old and I think different. But at that time I thought, this is my thing. This is what I come here. Like I overcome that time. I got married with an Italian girl, got my visa, then met Claire. So my life is kind of decent. But I feel like, forget about those guys. I have those meals under a fucking, you know, roof, like hiding from the police. That's what my duty, just to try to talk about it on my platform, obviously. photography is a super poor, not photography, art, in my opinion, is a really poor platform to talk about crisis. But
Yeah.
it's my platform. That's the only way I know how to communicate with other people, you know? Um, so I thought, okay, this is what you have to do. So I start to explore illegal immigration
And I
deep.
think that's one thing as well from like going to the previous exhibitions that you've done at the Village bookstore
Yeah.
is you cast a light that not a lot of people see. And I think because media does, like you say, it puts stuff under the rug, which is damaging to how we deal with things and people crossing the channel and that kind of stuff. It's you cast a light on the problems that are there, and it's important because you bring that into the mainstream and into the society. And I think that's what art does. I think you say in a lot of terms it is difficult to do that, but through your work you do cast a light on what is going on and the reality of life, really, I guess. It's true though, right? It is, isn't it? And I think the shock on a lot of people's faces when we're doing the exhibitions and you're there and you're talking about, okay, this image was this and this is the reality of it. People are like, what?
Yeah, but I think, from my point of view, that's the people that I admire was like, I don't know, Paul Graham, Wally Rudd, the people like, you see a picture and you really want to know more about it. Mm-hmm. You really want to make an effort and think, what the fuck am I seeing now? Let me find out, you know? And I think that's the way to show in a gallery. When I get motivated to see a show, another artist show, I want to get motivated in that way. Mm-hmm. You know, so I thought, okay, let's try to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, let's try to do the still true to my love of the magic of photography, but try to explore, okay, this shit is real, how I can communicate. But that's the thing, you can't communicate with everyone. Mm-hmm. You need to feel, okay, this picture communicate enough for me. Let's see how other people just see it, you know? It's not an easy thing.
And I guess people's experience lead them to perceive something in a certain way. You know, if you come from an area which is extremely privileged and people's perception of immigrants and things like that could be very derogatory, based off you live in a area where it's seen as like, these people are coming into our country, this, that, and other. The image that they see would be very, very different for someone's image that they see from coming from the position of
no, I get it. I get it. You're right, but at the same time, it's the gallery art scene is people who has a knowledge of what's going on the world. You know what I mean? It's not. It's. I don't want to say it's not, but it's a place with people who think they're intelligent. They go.
A lot of intellect comes into that space.
You know what I mean? And sometimes they like to talk about it because it's on the gallery. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about my work. I'm talking work in general. Mm-hmm. People love to go and say, oh yeah, I bought this print because the artist told me this. Again, it's fine. Everyone should do whatever they fucking want. But the world wasn't meant to communicate that way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's still valid, still money, it's still good for them. But you can tell it's not, the people you're talking about, they don't go to galleries. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a different.
It's a different layout, and now, even more now, because I remember going to galleries before, and again, when I was a kid, I didn't have that opportunity to go to a museum or gallery. My parents, they weren't like that. But when I start to go to galleries on my own, and I receive the information, boom. Now they Google it. They Google the artist. They Google what the work is about. So they go with this knowledge. They read the statement, you know, about before you go, and it's fucking punch in the face, you know. Yeah. So again, it's what it is. I think the work, the best time is the process of the work more than showing. Showing is great. Showing is great, and it's great for people to see it. But when you are on the process and you just take away all the shit like you've been doing for that past year, and you feel like, oh, these five pictures, I made it. This is it. Yeah. I think that's a great moment too. You know.
And Was there a moment going back to your realization of having to leave where you were, leave home, and was the first place that you went to the Canary Islands from being in Argentina?
No, no, no. I've been in Madrid. I've been in Galicia, Barcelona. I've been in Italy. I've been all around, like trying to get something. It's when you're illegal, it's not that easy. I mean, it's more easy than the crisis in Argentina was so hard. So I prefer whatever, you know. So when I reached Canary Island was because a friend of mine was working in a construction site and he could give me like a trial on that. And I reached him and I started to work with him.
And so
I never get it. I don't know the names of the tools. You know? It wasn't a great moment.
I mean, what an amazing friend to take you on, even though you
Oh
have
man,
no knowledge.
Emilio is just we grew up together
Uh-huh.
in Quilmes, and he's like a brother. And what he did to take me on to work on a place like I got fired the first day. The first day, this guy, Spanish guy, you know, like super old school, like grumpy Spanish guy. He was the manager of the. I'm talking about like. Now it's a hotel there. It was like, I don't know, 400 people in a pit. And he said, you! And he pointed at me. Pásame la asada. I'm like, what? And my friend is like, go. All these fucking tools, I don't know what asada means. I don't know even today what asada means. So I grabbed something like, looks like a, I don't know, like sheep or whatever. Boom, out. Say to me, out. Who are you? Sebastian, out. So I was like fucking nearly crying. I was like, I didn't last 4 hours there, you know? And my mate said, don't worry. Tomorrow we start again. You know, it was so big.
Start again.
Yeah, because they were like, it was a mafia controlling, it still is, controlling all the construction sites. So half, but 60% they were legal, and the other 40 is controlled by 4 or 5 people. Contractors that they put illegals on the job, and I was one of them. So that's why my friend said, don't worry about it, because he knew for them it's like a check. You know, one illegal immigrant there is a check for them, so they don't give a shit if they work or not.
So whereabouts is this that you're working?
That was in Tenerife, in the hotel now, if you Google it, it's called Villa Cortés. And it's an amazing hotel. It's an amazing hotel. And I was
A
like,
hotel built by the mafia.
I was like,
This is going to be taken off YouTube so fast.
no, it's not been by the mafia. It's the whole Europe. Not the whole Europe, but most of Europe. It was illegal immigration is a thing. Most of the workers, they know they're illegal. So the contractors, the mafia contractors say, okay, I give you these 20 guys, they're illegal. These 50, they're good. So they make, I don't know, if they give you, I don't know, 50 pounds, they get 100. So they make 50 in every day of these 20.
Wow.
And like that, they have hundreds and hundreds. And that's why I met all these guys from Colombia, Morocco, Nigeria, Senegal, and it becomes my project because I spent years with them, and it was fascinating too. I mean, it was crazy, but you know how many guys I see them, like the police got them, deport them in front of me. How many times we hide? I mean, I got deported once, but for other reasons. But it was like all or nothing there.
Wow.
You don't know. You don't make much plans because you don't know what's gonna happen if tomorrow they take you out. And they take you out and out. No, it's like, let me get my things.
You're gone.
You're gone. You go to the airport.
And so you're saying, so obviously Argentina, then Tenerife. So what is the journey? Because obviously you're South America, then going to the Canary Islands, right? What is the journey there?
Well, I went through. But that's the thing. I went through Madrid, and at that point, you need a visa. The good thing about at that time, Argentina wasn't one of the countries like Venezuela or Colombia that they were more monitored by the police. Still 50% get in, 50% get out. So you have to. We didn't need a visa to work. I mean, we need a visa to work, but we didn't need a visa to get in because you can have a holiday visa for 3 months.
Okay.
But you need to show. If they stop you, you need to show like you have more than, I don't know, 2,000 euros was at the time on the bank. Have a credit card, and a ticket to return. You know, so I got in. But it was an awful moment, you know, awful moment. Like I have so many friends that they try and they just kick them out. And they've been saving for a year to get the ticket, you know, and they're out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I have a friend who's the most beautiful person I ever met, and her story is very similar. I wouldn't want to go into it, but it's that moment of, like you say, the 50-50, like the impact and the change that has on your life. And I feel like being from a privileged situation as just a white Englishman who's grown up in the country, people will never understand the stress that's in that 50-50,
Man.
which is like this. I can go back to a lot of situations. It's I can go back and literally I'll be dead.
Well,
People will never understand that, will they?
You know what? When I have a British passport now. When I the process was difficult, you know, to do it, and I've been living here forever. And my British friend, they're like, "Why do you want it for?" I'm thinking, you don't understand. You don't have a clue how difficult it is to have a third world country passport. You know how fucking difficult it is to move. You know? God, I can't forget about the British passport. What are you talking about, man? What the fuck are you talking about? My passport cost me in total, my passport from the whole process, from the beginning till I got the actual document, was $5,000. I'm talking about, I'm married with a British girl. I have 3 British kids. I live in a place where, like, what's the name of the heating in the floor? What's the name?
The basement,
No, when you have heating under the floor.
floorboards.
No, man.
What do you mean?
It calls central heating, no. You know, you put like,
Underfloor heating.
I have underfloor heating. Do you know what I mean?
That's how you measure like
You know,
success.
That's
If you walk into someone's
underfloor
house and
heating.
they have underfloor heating, you're
half
like,
of
wow.
my house is underfloor. The extension is underfloor heating.
You
The
are
other
very fancy, to be fair.
one, underfloor heating.
You
Man.
changed, bro.
I changed, man. I changed.
That's wild. And I know recently as well we spoke a bit, but you were, and obviously a very topical conversation right now, but you're in Israel and you were crossing the border between Israel and Palestine.
Yeah,
Fuck, that was 3 months.
yeah.
And obviously I mean, it's an ongoing conflict, but you were there at a time when there was a level of, you know,
It's weird because when I was there, a lot of Jewish youth was doing demonstrations and burning tires against the prime minister at the moment. See, it's a crazy transition to see now the whole war default like that, you know. I don't want to get too much into it because that's why I didn't show the war yet, you know. I don't think it's my place to talk or to show the war right now because kids are fucking dying. They're just like a lot of kids are dying, and I don't want, you know, I have a lot of artist friends or curators, and they calling me, man, I know you were there, why you don't show the work? I don't think it's the right time. This is serious shit, you know. But what I can tell you, like before this conflict was there forever. But before this, I thought I gonna understand more about what's going on, and I came back more clueless.
oh wow.
Yeah. On terms of how systematically I hang out a lot in Tel Aviv too to understand what's going on and how systematically they hate Palestinians without even go to a conversation. Do you know what I mean? And but again, I don't think it's my time to talk about this. I don't want to be like opportunist about, oh, this is my work about Palestine and everyone's gonna publish it. Fuck that, man. It's I have kids, man, and it's fucking hardcore. It's just honestly break my heart. It breaks my heart like how we go on, how society goes. Like
yeah, norm, like this isn't.
we're in a podcast right now. Do you know what I mean? And it's breaks my heart. So I think when all this shit is done, we have another conversation. I bring some work and we talk about it.
I think as well the hypocrisy between the media over here that is covering the situation, the British media, without actually acknowledging the fact that it was the British and the French that went over there and that caught up the Middle East land
Yeah.
to begin all this conflict. You know,
Yeah, but if
we
you-
were hiding what was happening there. The British people went there for the oil and then caused all this controversy, wanted to cause the chaos, and then now we're reporting on in the media like we didn't have anything to do with that.
Yeah.
To me, there's so much hypocrisy there, and it's so difficult to speak upon because there's so many things, like you say, it's conversation. There's so many conversations that need to be had prior to the fact and obviously post the fact, that we have to consider now the current things that are happening and the despicable things that are happening, but we have to then look at the conversation and how we can correct that on the future and the
That's why I don't want to talk about it.
yeah, exactly.
Because if I would love to have a conversation when this shit is done, because people right now is screaming in a hospital being bombed. So I don't think us with our hoodies
Yeah.
and our drinks, I don't think it's our place now. Again, I always like to talk about conflict. And that my work always tend to go to that way instead of fashion. You know? But I think it's a time and a place, and right now it's fucking sad. Like really sad.
But I think also it's difficult to speak on, but I think the fact that you bring light, and that's something I've said throughout this, is that you bring light to those situations. I think it's so important that light is brought to, and people are putting the spotlight on what is happening, and the corruption and also the immigration, and something that is so real and something that people have been through. You know, more and more now I meet people in life who have been through that situation and been through that journey where they've had to flee somewhere where they just couldn't stay. And I think that's such an important thing to shed light upon, because I didn't know about it growing up. You know, I was very, very privileged, and there was nobody who I could speak to had said, this is what I've been through. But then I listened to podcasts with like Francis Ngannou, the cage fighter, who fled, and he had to get out of the situation. And then I speak to you, and then more friends and more people. And it's like, this isn't just a one-off situation. This is so many people. This is so many people's lives.
Yeah.
And yet you still have that common thing where people are like, oh, but, you know, why should people come into our country? And all that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this needs to be something where the young people understand, you know, and also the most amazing people have the most amazing stories, and they are so, they are, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Man, it's still idols. Just listen to
In
them.
the background, yeah. That's what's getting me revved up even more.
It's fucking idols.
Yeah, no, I think a great thing as well, like obviously we spoke about, there's a lot of your work which you aren't sharing at the moment, and it will be shared further down the line, but the people that I'll reach to and the stories that I'll tell will be fucking fascinating.
It's not the right time. Let's have another conversation when this shit is done. And I hope it's fucking soon.